This is NJ, host on this channel. So we will start our discussion on the Nakshatra number 26, which is the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. This is just going to be an introductory video where we will try to understand the symbol associated with this nakshatra, the gods, the deity presiding on this nakshatra, and a brief idea about the nature and functioning of this nakshatra. And in the following videos, we will try to get into the core depth of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So before we start our discussion, just a quick recap of all what we have studied so far. We have already discussed that what we are trying to do is that we are trying to study these 27 lunar asterism, also known as the 27 nakshatras, because you cannot rely on your reading only on the basis of the planets inhabiting or transiting these 12 zodiac signs, because behind each zodiac sign there is the energy of 3 different nakshatras. That is the only reason two people born with the same zodiac sign do not think alike or do not behave alike. So one usage of studying these nakshatras is that it is going to give you a tool to accurately measure and assess the behavior of the planets in someone's life. Second usage is that they are also used to do the marriage compatibility, the business partnership compatibility, and the third and the most important usage of studying these nakshatras is that they are used to take out the auspicious time for certain activities, also known as the muhurat or the electional astrology. So all of that we have already discussed in the introductory videos. Now we will start fresh on this 26th nakshatra, the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So the first thing is the zodiac space which it occupies. So it resides completely within the Pisces sign from 3 degree 20 minutes reaching till 16 degree 40 minutes within the Pisces zodiac sign. Now comes the question of what kind of energies this Pisces is going to infuse in this Uttara Bhadrapada. So first thing is Pisces is a sign which is being ruled by 3 planets, Jupiter, Neptune and the Ketu. So let's take the case one by one. Jupiter is going to manifest and it's going to infuse its good virtues, compassion, love for the spirituality, counseling abilities in the functioning and in the behavior of someone who will be strongly under the influence of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So Jupiter's expansiveness is going to manifest in this nakshatra in the form of the good virtues only. When it comes to the second planet, which is the Neptune, so Neptune is also linked with the sea, and very soon you are going to know that even the deity presiding on this nakshatra has something to do with the sea, with the cosmic, with the ocean, an ocean which is akin to the and equivalent to the rejuvenation, to the healing, to the protection. So all of that the Neptune is going to infuse in someone's life who will be strongly under the influence of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Apart from the fantasy, it will also give strong potential and connect the person with the media, with the mass fame, with the showbiz as well. And I have already explained the rejuvenation aspect is going to remain very integral in someone's personality who will be strongly under the influence of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. And as we have already reached the 12th zodiac sign Pisces, where there is a lot to do with the enlightenment, with the liberation, with the final wisdom, with the God realization. So all of those potential is also this combination and amalgamation of the Jupiter, Neptune and Ketu is going to infuse in the functioning of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. The third planet which has got the rulership of the Pisces is the Ketu. So now Ketu is a planet which is being linked with the Kundalini, which is also being linked with the opening of the 7 sacred centers, the opening of the 7 chakras. And you will very soon get to know that this is the asterism which is linked with the dormant lying energy, the life force, the Kundalini, along with the top crown chakra known as the Sahasrara chakra. So all of that potential of enlightenment, the detachment and spiritual elevation, the Ketu is going to manifest in the functioning of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. When it comes to its astronomy configuration, so this nakshatra constitutes of 2 stars. The one star falls in the constellation of the Pegasus, which is known as the Gamma Pegasi, and another star, the second star, falls in the constellation of the Andromeda, known as the Alpha Andromeda. Now this Gamma Pegasi is also known by the name of Algenib, and this star is also known by the name of Alphi Raz. So these two stars, whenever ancient sages they looked at the sky, they saw these two stars in the form of the back part of the funeral cot, or the back two legs of the funeral cot. Combining these two stars with the predecessor nakshatra, the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, in which the two stars which we have discussed, the Alpha Pegasi and the the Beta Pegasi, the Merkab and the Shiad, which represented and which were ancient sages looked at as the front two legs of the funeral cot. So those two stars representing the front two legs of the funeral cot, and these two stars of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra representing the back two legs of the funeral cot combined, and our ancient sages combining all these two four legs of the funeral cot saw them as the square of the Pegasus, which is being known by this name, and in the west by the square of Pegasus. So this is what remains to be the astronomical configuration of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which constitutes of two stars, the Gamma Pegasi lying in the constellation of the Pegasus, and the Alpha Andromeda lying in the constellation of the Andromeda. Now comes the question of the planetary rulership. So the rulership of this nakshatra has gone to the planet Saturn. So now the Saturn's energy is going to manifest in a different way, because even at the time when we were discussing the Pur Bhadrapada Nakshatra, so I have already explained that in Pur Bhadrapada Nakshatra, Saturn acts in a way of causing grief. It manifests its grief causing side to that. But when it comes to its Saturn's functioning in the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which can be seen as the peak, as the summit of the Saturnian's energy. So Saturn manifests here its very different side, of compassion, of humanitarianism, love for the justice, discipline, and the best part is Saturn here infuses all these qualities in the form of acting as an old wise man, not as someone who will have a stick in his hand and who is going to make someone go through the hardship in order to learn the lesson of the life. Here it is going to make someone learn from the patience, from the perseverance, and with a good example. So the rulership goes to the planet Saturn. When it comes to the power, the Shakti, like the way each nakshatra has got its own power, own Shakti, this nakshatra has got the Varsho Dhyamana Shakti. Now Varsho Dhyamana Shakti means power to bring rain and prosper growth. Now this could be looked at from the perspective that this rain is synonymous to the celestial soothing, the universal soothing, universal rejuvenation, universal healing, which is prospering the growth on the ground, on the surface. Even the indication of this nakshatra is it is known as the warrior star. Now when I say the warrior star, it means this nakshatra or someone who will be strongly under the influence of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra will remain very protective towards his kith and kin, towards his family, towards his nearer and dearer ones. When it comes to understanding the name, the Uttara Bhadrapada, so that's very simple, we have already discussed. Uttara can be translated as the latter one. Bhadra can be translated as the auspicious, the benevolent, the salutary one, and the Pada can be translated as the feet. So this can be translated as the latter lucky feet, the latter lucky feet, or one who possesses the latter lucky feet. The another translation which has been written in our Vedic scriptures is that they have given an alternative name as Uttara Proshtha Pada, which can be translated as the latter two feet of a stool or of a bench. When it comes to understanding the symbol, which our ancient sages have assigned to it. So like the way we have already discussed, the first symbol assigned to this nakshatra is of the back two legs of a funeral cot. Now what do you get to know from that? See, just because now we have reached the original 12th house, the Pisces, the sign which originally belongs to the original 12th house. So in a way here Saturn, what it is doing is that after because Saturn originally rules the 10th house, where you will find the Capricorn sign, which is all about your career, which is all about your profession. The 11th house, where you will find the sign Aquarius, which is also being ruled by the Saturn, where you will just mingle up with the friends, you socialize. So here Saturn is going to make you realize your ultimate duty, your wisdom, your enlightenment, all of that knowledge. So in a way this funeral cot can be seen as, because if in Pur Bhadrapada, which represented the front two legs of a funeral cot, if the death actually took place over there, so this nakshatra in the form of the back two legs of a funeral cot just represents the state after the death. So what actual duties come, or when the final realization and renunciation begins, because what has been written in our Vedic scriptures is that this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra generally belongs to the third stage in our in our worldly duties, because as per our Vedic scriptures they have divided the duties of all the human beings on the basis of four principles. The first thing is basis the age, and basis your stage of life. You will go through these four stages in the life, or also known as the ashram. So the first one is the the brahmacharya, second is the grahast, third is the vanpast, and fourth is the sannyas. So when I say the brahmacharya, it means too much devotion towards the the acquiring of the education, acquiring of the virtues, the discipline. The grahast means you will indulge into the marital life. You will you will accumulate your earning, your living. The vanpast means when you will just start slowly, gradually, abandoning and renouncing your duties, and you will start playing the role of a mature counselor. And in the fourth and the final stage, the sannyas, you finally and completely renounce the whole worldly duties and you go towards seeking the God. So this nakshatra belongs to the vanprasth. When you start renunciation, renouncing your duties and start playing the role of an advisor, or start playing the role of a counselor. So in a way we can look at it from that perspective, that the back two legs of a funeral cot just represents the actual state after the death which had taken place in the Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, the previous nakshatra. And just because many scholars also assume these these back two legs of a funeral cot as the back two legs of a bed, so that also tells about that state of deep deep unconscious, when you have gone into a deepest of the sleep, the dream state, the state of the dreams. So this is what we get to know from the very first symbol associated with the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is of the back two legs of a funeral cot or of a bed. The second symbol associated with this nakshatra is of a serpent with 2.5 coils. Now again I am repeatedly saying this thing, this serpent with the 2.5 coils is again akin to the primeval life force which lies at the base of our spine. This energy which lies dormant, which is known as the Kundalini Shakti, which goes through the 7 sacred centers within our body, reaching the crown chakra known as the Sahasrara chakra. So it lies dormant at the base chakra known as the Muladhara chakra, then the Swadhisthana, then the Manipura, then the Anahata, then the Vishuddhi, Ajna, and the final chakra which is the crown chakra, which is the Sahasrara chakra. So again, lots of spiritual potential of enlightenment lies with this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So this is about the symbol, which is first is of the back two legs of a funeral cot, second is of a serpent with 2.5 coils. When it comes to the deity or the god presiding on this nakshatra, so a very esoteric deity presides on this nakshatra, which is known by the name of Ahir Bhudyana. Now this deity can be seen as a serpent lying at the depth, serpent lying beneath the surface of the earth. The way it has been described in our Vedic scriptures is that it also belongs to the army of the Lord Shiva, the army of the Rudra, like the way the deity, presiding deity of the previous nakshatra was the Ajayakapada, which was also being described as having a place in the entourage, in the army of the Lord Shiva and the army of the Lord Rudra. But here this deity is considered as very compassionate, very benevolent. It has complete control over its anger, over its passion, over its emotions. So the energy of the Ahir Budhyana is not as unrestrained like the way the energy of the predecessor, the Purva Bhadrapada's deity Ajayakapada's energy was. So here the energies are very tamed, very controlled, or are very wise, and also very compassionate, because this Ahir Budhyana lies at the depth of the ocean, of the cosmic ocean. And whenever the notion of the ocean comes, the first thing which we get to know about is that a soothing and a rejuvenation, appeasing of all the negative qualities of the jealousy, of the anger, so a healing and a revitalizing energy. So this is what the innate nature of Ahir Budhyana tends to be. Many scholars also associate Lord Shiva as the presiding deity of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra because of the dissoluting aspect and the potential of this nakshatra. So now coming to the final part of getting a brief idea about the nature and functioning of this nakshatra. So this will not be an exaggeration to call this nakshatra as the old wise guy amongst all the 27 nakshatras. These people tend to remain very wise, very benevolent, very helpful, very charitable, very cheerful. You will find these people, who will always act with a proper sense of reasonability. All of their actions have a proper sense of vision, of foresight, a proper planning to it. That is the only reason these people get the respect in the society, and they get respected because of their wisdom, all the wisdom which they have, which they possess. These people not only remain helpful towards other people's pain, other people's the plight which these people are going through, but it has been generally seen that these people also tend to remain very lucky in the matters of the getting the charity, getting the inheritance, getting the legacies. So in a nutshell, this nakshatra is considered as very fortunate from all the financial and either the financial handling or the financial acquiring. This nakshatra is considered as very auspicious. So this is something which I just wanted to say as a brief idea about the nature and functioning of this nakshatra. Even the women born with this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra are considered to be carrying the qualities of the goddess Lakshmi. That it has been believed that they tend to remain the gem of their family, possessing and remaining very lucky in the matters of getting a good husband, remaining very lucky in the matters of getting good progeny, good children, all the things which comes to your mind whenever we say the goddess Lakshmi, because goddess Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, prosperity, of luxury. So these women who have the prominent influence of the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra in their life, they tend to remain very lucky in all of those spheres. So the energy is very much mellowed as compared to the previous nakshatra. The anger is very much restrained. The passions are very much calculated, are very much controlled in the functioning of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Even many scholars like Rabindranath Tagore was born with his ascendant in the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Great people like Hillary Clinton, Bill Gates, Abraham Lincoln, they were born with their moon in the Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So this is all what I wanted to say as my take on this introductory video on this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. In the following videos, we will definitely try to get into the core, into the depth of this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So I hope you guys found this video informational. For further more updates and notification on astrology, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.
Shankara